All right, top 10 time. Last year was a journey. Did a little bit of prep work this time. You feeling ready?
I'm ready.
Cool. All right, let's, dude. We forgot the coffee. Got the Fiend, got the filter, but I don't think I have any beans left. Do you want to go get some coffee?
I think we have to.
Yeah, we're a coffee brand. Let's go get some coffee. We'll be right back. Thank you. All right. That is much better. Okay, cheers, y'all. With 2024 coming to a close here, the scene has expanded quite a bit, and so as of Saturday, and we're a little bit behind now, we've visited 248 different coffee shops, a little north of 180 in the Twin Cities here. We've had quite a bit of an extensive exploration. A lot of these rankings were based on the quality of their coffee, the expertise of their baristas, the ambiance, service, and just an overall feel too. So like, is this a place that you could hang out with your friends at? Is this a place that you could sit down and work at for a few hours? Is it a cozy space? Could you bring your family here? A lot of different factors, and as each year goes by, there are more shops, and it makes it more difficult for us to decide who's on this list every single year. It's never easy. Some of the names on here will be familiar. We've got a few newcomers this year as well, but let's get down to it here. All right, starting at number 10. So they've been on the list a few times now. Caffetto Coffee House. It's a classic over in the Whittier neighborhood. Nostalgic vibe, late night spot, and they're open until midnight daily. I think that's the biggest factor. There are only 2 or 3 spots in the city that are, let's say, coffee shops or coffee houses that have coffee as their main thing. So Caffetto has 2 different levels as well. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and people are working all around. If I don't have enough time to finish work during the day, I'll head over for a few hours and I kind of grind things out there. And so everything from having a cozy environment to everyone doing their own thing, and also having a fun space downstairs to play pinball, or they've got arcade games, and I think at one point too they had a ping pong table. So number 10, Caffetto Coffee. All right, so number 9, Caphin. They are new to the block and will be 1 year old on February 17th of 2025. Caphin is the first Vietnamese coffee shop, brick and mortar in the Twin Cities here. They've become a pretty beloved space as well. And for those of you guys who have been with us and have seen the interviews we've had with Jenny as well, they have a really cool story. They were actually denied from every single space or market initially, and finally got into Midtown. And Midtown is all it took, because from Midtown, they went to Mill City. They had a few other pop-ups at local places where they had friends who needed some support from coffee. And yeah, from there, she opened up her space, brick and mortar, last year. And I'm not kidding you, like, line out the door on the weekends. Really good Vietnamese coffee. And I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever had Café Mui or Café Chung. The egg coffee there is fantastic. It's like an egg cream, egg custard coffee. Not what you think it is. It tastes a lot better. It's like a nice kind of creamy texture. Walking in, you instantly can just smell the incense from the altar at the bottom. She really brings things from her roots and kind of showcases that in her own space, and it really shows. And so, as a Vietnamese guy myself, I can say there are no red flags with caffeine. And also, this is a shameless plug for us too. I'm doing my best to communicate with the audience. If you haven't heard, this is called the Coffee Compass. We love coffee and supporting local, and as mentioned earlier, we've been to 248 different local spaces. And so, with this booklet, it's a buy one get one free at a lot of the who we think are up and coming and or heavy hitter spaces. So either you've heard of the space or they're new to the scene but are at that same caliber of quality, expertise, and service as well. Caffeine's actually in that book, and they will be again for the 2025 edition, so keep an eye out. All right, so Cafe Astoria. So this place is known for having some pretty visually stunning lattes. If you've been before, they're right off of Grand over in West 7th, right across from the Children's Hospital there. Campfire latte and the 24 karat are my 2 go-tos there. One just kind of looks really like like nice and appealing. The other one, I think they have like a blowtorch back there too, and it's not just like a little tiny marshmallow, it's like a giant marshmallow on a popsicle stick. Really, really good garnishes there, but nice exposed brick. The space that they have between Cafe Astoria and Hope too, they do like a combo thing in the spring and summer. Amazing brunch spot. Very delightful, very Instagram worthy space, very delicious drinks in general too, and that one's been a favorite since college. So Cafe Astoria. So number 7, we've got Spyhouse Coffee Roasters. They are an absolute staple in the Twin Cities. If you're from here, you probably have heard of the name. They've got locations in St. Paul, over in Whittier, downtown, uptown, North Loop, and Northeast too. Spyhouse has a very chic and unique feel. You can kind of tell by walking in that it is a Spyhouse by their layout, by the hardwood floors, a lot of their little decorations and pieces. It's unique at every single space, but you can also kind of tell like, oh, yeah, little things like this is Spyhouse. They've got roasters in the Northeast location. So Spyhouse has been a leader in the community with roasting as well. Seasonal drinks too. There's always at least one on the menu that just slaps a little bit harder too. Their seasonals are always just on point, and it's the consistently being at that top level that puts them at the 7th spot. So for number 6, we have MISFIT Coffee. True to its name, MISFIT stands out with its bold flavors and experimental brews. They've always been known to be more of a rebellious brand and not your average Joe. So we had the chance to speak to Marcus, who is one of the owners of the space recently. And if you haven't watched the video, go check it out. They're kind of goofy, and they're able to be, because as under the radar as they are, they work their behinds off, and they're able to pull that off because their quality is so high and their stuff is so delicious. They've got the willingness to just push boundaries, and really that tied in with like a laid back atmosphere. They've got like rock music. It's just a very distinctive and effective coffee experience. The space used to be a garage, like an auto garage, and they've transformed it into both a roasting space and on the front end, a cafe for everyone to come in and try their stuff out too. Overall, just a really enjoyable experience, really fun, and like again, super goofy, but all of the, even like down to the baristas too, like they know their stuff, they know their flavor notes, they have really good recommendations, and all of their drinks too, like it's unique. Just go try it out, it's delicious. Also crazy, MISFIT Coffee also was in the first edition. They will also be in the 2025 edition. Please go check them out. They are so under the radar and deserve so much more attention than what they're getting. Marcus and his team, wonderful people. So yeah, go check out MISFIT, number 6. All right, number 5, we got PILLLAR Forum Coffee. And so these guys are just down the street from Cosmic in Northeast on Central. PILLLAR Forum seamlessly blends the love of coffee and the passion with their community and their culture too. They're also a skate shop. It's not just like a coffee shop, it's a whole community. And I'm pretty sure they had a concert the other day, and there was this guy hanging out like on top of, I don't know what it's called, like it's that space above the door, but he was sitting on top of it and playing his guitar. It looked so cool. They have concerts and like a side room that they just expanded into as well. Community is the biggest thing with them, and also for inspiration too, they donate to national forests, from what I remember, either a certain percentage or plant trees and whatnot too, but that's kind of what inspired us to do the donations with the coffee club back then. So a quick shout out to you guys. Love what you guys are doing with both the community and giving back to the people too. Also just really cool people there, like skater coffee shop combo, like that's just sick. So PILLLAR Forum, number 5. Number 4, we've got Fox Pantry. So this is over in Plymouth. They're a newcomer in the Twin Cities. Started to really just make a name for themselves right off the bat. Kim and her team have been nothing short of just fantastic. They have workshops for arts and crafts. They have baking courses. They also just expanded to next door as well to like a whole wine bar as well. And so pick your poison kind of deal. But that inspiration I got from her when I first spoke to her, like that has been the same motivation, that same drive from the beginning, carried all throughout. Like it's real, and it shows through like being on the news. The quality of their pastries, phenomenal. I think she's more of a baker than like a coffee person, but it is out of this world. Like they look fantastic. that also ties into the specialties too. So they know how to garnish a drink. They know how to make things look really nice, and it tastes just as good as it looks too. Fancy shop. It's also like a boutique, and the space is, I wouldn't say condensed, but it's laid out in a way that welcomes people to sit next to each other and start conversation. So another community that's just up there, right? And so presentation for both the layout, how their staff look, and both the drinks and the pastries too, top tier. So a little bit out there in the suburbs, but really, really good shop. Number 3, Wild Grind. I try to be as unbiased as possible. I will say Wild Grind has a special place in our hearts. They have given us a shot at doing a lot of what we do on both the social side and the business side now. We're at markets every single month, and the thing that separates some of the shops on this list from the other 100 or so is the community aspect. And so with Wild Grind, one, it's also a coffee shop and brewery with Wild Mind Ales on the other side of things, but the sip and shop makers markets that they do every single month showcases 10 to 12 local businesses, small vendors, and gives them a shot to just get them out there and really highlight their own brands where they wouldn't have as much of a shot at other places. When, not to say that things aren't as competitive to get into the markets, but we've been around since June of 2023 at the markets now, and it's familiar faces. We see the same people coming back over and over again, supporting these markets, both on the vendor and customer side as well. Really supportive community and big open space, both on the inside and a really nice patio space too, where they have music on the outside and a bonfire or campfire pits where you can sit around, picnic benches and tables, and it's just a really, really nice, unique gem that's hidden off the I-35 bridge. Really cool. They will also be in the 2025 Coffee Compass edition, so please go check them out. They are truly a hidden gem. Handcrafted signature drinks, really cozy ambiance, and yeah, it's the all-around package. We like Wild Grind for number 3. All right, number 2, FRGMNT Coffee. So they've also expanded quite a bit recently. Similarly to, probably noticing a pattern at this point too, but the quality of the coffee here, these seasonal drinks that just are on point consistently. They have multiple locations now, so they're probably doing something right. And the community aspect as well. Top tier baristas. A lot of the ones that I've talked to on my journey started other places and they want to end up at like a FRGMNT or a Spyhouse or a Dogwood. Really high up there, right? To be able to answer questions about different types of beans, where certain flavors are from the beans, and like I think with their menu too, so they have seasonal menus that change and they're really on top of their menus. Also with their sourcing, I think there's one roaster they source from in the Twin Cities. Everywhere else is single origin from across the world, and it changes fairly often too, so like they rotate and like they keep things very fresh. They're just on point all of the time. And so if you've ever been into a FRGMNT as well, most of them, if not all of them, are in like a big business building, and so when you walk in, you get overwhelmed. And people are always working there too. That's one of the things that make it FRGMNT, because seeing other people there almost motivates the other people that aren't working to work even more. I've always seen them as a top spot. So FRGMNT, number 2. Also, matcha tonic, fantastic. Number 1, for the 4th year in a row, we've got SK Coffee. So that's Sam Kielberg. He's an old pal of ours, and they're at a different level, I feel like. I think their team was just in South America recently. Like, he flies his team out there. When I say top tier baristas too, like almost all of them that I've talked to are like die hard. They want to be roasters one day. They want to run their own space one day, or they just have a really big love for the craft. But I have never met, and this is still the same. I haven't talked to Sam in a little while now, actually, but through socials and everything too, I've seen like that same passion, that same drive is still there. And so he's consistently innovating, doing new things. They just had a downtown location launch within, I think, the last year now. It could be a little bit north of that, but they're doing really well. And Roaster Showcase, of course. We had our Christmas market that day, but if we weren't at the market, we'd be at the showcase this year. He is, I guess I don't know a crazy amount of roasters, but from the ones I've talked to, he's like the top guy around. I knew this was a thing when I was sitting at the bar over at 550 Vandalia. We were doing like a little cupping thing, and there was a Ziploc bag. It was him, like Maddie, and I think like 2 other people, but he's like, dude, you need to just smell this, and he goes, oh my gosh. Like, a little weird, right? But like, that was just when I knew. I'm like, this guy, like, he knows his stuff, he loves his coffee, and I can't understand like half of the things that he shares, but he's just so passionate. I learn something new every single time I speak with him. Every single time I'm at SK, sitting at the bars, there's always a lesson to be learned. Like the whole experience from them sharing of like, oh, we just got a new geisha, or like a new Guatemala, a new Ethiopia. You need to try this out. It tastes like this, this, and this. The ingredients they have too. I know they have, anytime really I see or here, Sweet Gallium. It's just top tier stuff. Only place ever in the world I would pay more than like $9 for a pour over, by the way. Only place in the world because it's that good. They make it right in front of you and just, it's the whole thing of like, oh, it's from here and this is what it tastes like. This is what you do. These are the farmers. And I don't know, it's a whole experience. And I mean, I might sound like a broken record from similar years too, but they're different. And only good things from most of the people that I've talked with that were roasters too. Like Sam just knows his stuff and his team too. They're dedicated. Not that anyone else isn't, but yeah, they travel around the world. They meet the farmers. They cup consistently, their team. And yeah, they're doing big things. And so SK for the 4th year in a row is #1. And so congrats to you guys. Congrats to everyone else on the list. And one quick honorable mention at the very end here too, that would have been on the list. They closed this year, unfortunately, but Third Space Cafe, they were a pretty big deal in the Twin Cities. Like they brought coffee flights to the Twin Cities. Aaron, hi. We're big advocates for mental health too. And so like I literally have my happy lamp in my room right now, but really putting a focus on mental health, doing their best to just care for the people, plant wall, and making fun drinks too. I know they did like they do really good flights, by the way. There was like a Taylor Swift one that they did, winter one, fall. They would do one like for every season, honestly, but quick shout out to them too. But it kind of wraps up the top 10 of 2024 here. And as much as I'd like to think that I'm right, I'm not always right. I try super hard to be unbiased. End of the day, these were based off the experiences that we had when we stopped by all of these places. This was so hard to narrow down. Again, like the list was a little bit north of 30 places, but I don't know, like Coffee Smith, Lynn Hall, Sister Sludge, 9th Street, Froth and Core, Cream and Amber, Tapestry. There are so many places in the Twin Cities that it's tough. It's really tough to make this list, but end of the day, it's subjective, right? And so the best place is the one in your local neighborhood that you go to, right? And so I would love your opinion. We, as the 16 ounce team, would love to hear what are some of the shops that you agree with that are on this list? What are the ones that you're like, dude, why is this not on here? What did I miss, right? So we do our best to just listen to the community and the people too, and that's you guys. And so, I mean, we appreciate any sort of engagement, whether it's just a comment or send me a DM. I'm usually pretty quick with those too. We appreciate you guys giving us the time, and I hope you guys had a happy new year. Cheers, y'all.